Today we're going to look at token systems. A lot of people ask me, what is a token system? It doesn't even make any sense to me. So I want to take some time and explain that to you, and also let you know that if you listen to nothing else that I say ever, this is the video that you want to listen to and try to implement in your home. It's a simple, proactive step that you can take in your home that is always successful. So I want to kind of introduce that to you and show you some steps to help you use this in your home. So first, what is a token board? I'm going to show you this right here is a simple token board for a young child. Now, if you like this, as after I explain it, if you go to Facebook and search Parenting with Less Stress, I have a files section and you can download one of these for use in your home. But let me show you how this works. If you've watched previous videos, you know that if you want to increase a behavior, you need to reinforce that behavior. So what does that mean, reinforce? Let's think about reinforcement for a minute. Reinforcement increases the behavior, but how do we figure those out for our kids? Our kids, when I look at my kids, they like lots of things. They like video games, they like playing board games, they like going and doing fun things, but what are they willing to work for in my home? That's what we want to look at. As an adult, I have preferred items and I have items that I will go to work for, right? Like I might prefer a Kit Kat bar, but am I willing to go to work every day for a Kit Kat bar? No, but I will go to work for the paycheck. A lot of times I get pushback, to be honest, especially from dads, about using a token system because people look at it incorrectly. They're like, well, I'm not bribing my kid to do something. Oh, that sounds just like bribery. There is a difference in bribery and reinforcement. Bribery is usually something that we use in the moment, right? Like my kid's having a meltdown on the floor and I'm like, okay, well, if you get up, I'll give you an M&M. That's bribery. It's something I decided to use right in the moment. A token economy system is more like a contract. It's an agreement that you make ahead of time. It's not something you're going to use right in the moment. You're going to make a decision with your child, hey, this is what we're working for, this is what we're working towards, and this is how you're going to earn that. It's going to help us increase the likelihood that our child will cooperate with us. Our goal is to eliminate all the fighting and the arguing. We want to make things at home more smooth. We want to make things more peaceful, and this is a great tool to help you do that. So like I said, you need to find a reinforcer for your child. It's the very first step of using a token board. So depending on the age of your child, you might just be able to ask your child, what are some things that you're willing to work for? If your child's young, you might need to show them some items. For me, in my house, what I have done since my kids were very young is I really just try to be aware every day. When we go out to the store, what are they asking if they can have? And to be honest, a lot of times when they were younger, if it was within reason as far as price, I would say sure. They knew the answer was sure a lot of times when they asked for something, but they also knew it had to go on the shelf when we got home. And we had a shelf that they had to put their items on, they got at the dollar store, or that they got while we were in line at the grocery store, and they had to work for it. And their question over the years became, can I get this and work for it? Like they knew, hey, I can't just get this, but I can work for it and I can earn it later. So really be aware of what your kids are willing to work for. It's also very important to make sure that you limit their access to those items. So let's say that I'm going to give my kids M&Ms every time they make their bed. So they wake without me telling them. So they wake up, they make their bed without me having to say anything, they earn an M&M. My kids start making their beds every day without me having to give them a reminder, shows that that M&M is a reinforcer. Now let's say that they go to Dee Dee's house and she keeps M&Ms on the center of her kitchen table. And the kids are allowed to go by and take a handful of M&Ms and shove them in their mouth whenever they want to because they're at Dee Dee's house. What happens at home to making their beds? All of a sudden they stop, because they're having unlimited access to these M&Ms when they go to Dee Dee's. So they're no longer reinforcers at home. That is something that you really need to be aware of. And it's really hard, especially with our older kids who maybe we give gas money to, and then we give them money to go out to eat with their friends, and we let them do this and we let them do that. It becomes much harder for us to use reinforcers and find reinforcers when we're constantly giving our kids everything. We're not really leaving a lot of room for reinforcers. So that's just something to keep at the front of your mind, because a lot of times people will tell me, oh, like my child won't work for anything. Like I can't find a reinforcer for my child. And my question will be, especially for older kids, is like, well, did you let them go out with their friends? Like how did they put gas in their car? Like I even had one family say, well, we don't know. And I'm like, well, you might want to figure that out then. If you don't know where your kid's getting money for gas and you don't know where they're getting money to go out with their friends and they have no job, it's coming from somewhere. So really think about, be creative on reinforcers, but also think about what are we just handing to our kids and not making them work for anything. All right, so once you determine what reinforcer your child is going to be working for, you want to decide how are they going to earn that reinforcer. You might be focusing on a specific skill with your child. You might be focusing on a specific behavior with your child, but there needs to be a decision between you and your child where you tell them, where they know it's communicated, what it is that you're working on and how they can earn it. My suggestion is that you try to phrase it positive. So you don't want to say, hey, I want you to stop arguing with your siblings. Say, I want you to work on using kind words and getting along with your siblings. Try to phrase whatever your goal is in a positive manner so that your child knows what it is that you want them to do. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to choose a system. You're going to choose your token economy system. Now again, a lot of people say, hey, this doesn't work. I want to go back to, it does work. I want you to think about, why do bonus checks work in the business world? People are motivated to earn something extra, something new. People, it will work. So choose your system. If you have a young kid, this system right here might work for you. If you have an older child, you might just want to use a sticky note with check marks on it. You might want to just use a point system. It can be whatever works for you at home. It does not have to be fancy. It can be tally marks. It can be putting a marble in a jar. But there just needs to be some way to keep up with, hey, you're earning the points, or you're earning the check marks, or you're earning the, whatever it is, you are earning this towards your reward. So once you've determined your reinforcers and you know which system you're using, now it's time to implement the system in your home. So every time you see your child doing what it is that you're asking them to do, you're gonna give them a token. Your goal might be 10 tokens, your goal might be 20 tokens. Depending on what you're teaching, you probably want to adjust it that way. But every time you see them doing that behavior or using that skill correctly, give them a token. Once you see that they're consistently doing this, then you might change and you might say, hey, okay, I'm going to give you a token every other time. You don't have to tell your child that, but in your mind say, okay, well, now that they're doing this more, I'm not going to reinforce it every single time, because your goal is not to be using this system forever. Your goal is to be able to fade this system once you're seeing more of that skill, you're seeing that they're doing what it is that you want them to do. So you're going to start every time you see them doing it, you're going to reinforce it, then you're going to start to fade that and not reinforce it every single time. But once their chart, once their tallies, whatever it is that you're working for, has reached that amount that you agreed upon, it is very important that you deliver that reinforcer. So it's not going to be, hey, we're going to wait a few days. You need to make sure you have that ready to go and you reinforce that as soon as they fill that chart up or as soon as they earn those tokens. If you don't, what you're going to find is that the system really doesn't work. Like, kids are kids, like they want it now, they want it when they earn it. They're not like us. They're not like us who can sometimes say, okay, well, I see I'm going to get that in 2 weeks or whatever it is. If you have older kids, they can probably see that concept of time if it's something bigger that they're working for that's maybe further down the road. But with your young kids, you need to try to deliver that as soon as possible. It's okay to not give a token for something if you're seeing that they're not exhibiting the behaviors that you want, or they're not exactly following through on a skill, but you don't want to take the tokens away. Once they start losing tokens, again, you're going to see a decrease in effectiveness. So just a quick recap to wrap this up. Token systems are a great way to work on increasing a behavior in your home. It's a great proactive strategy to use in your home that is simple. You can take this in the car with you. You can do this in your house. You can do this out in the grocery. You can use this anywhere to really focus on one skill, one behavior, one target that you have. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you can see when new videos are posted. You can also look in the Facebook group, Parenting with Less Stress, for more simple, practical strategies that you can use in your home.